knows about this game? Now, who here knows about this game? What about this one? No, I'm sure not everyone here knows about this game. You see, Dungeons and Dragons has been a big part of my family and friends, and since I was about 4 years old, I have known this game. Not everyone considers Dungeons and Dragons as a more sustainable or value-based game. However, the amounts of times I sat down with my family and friends to play this game really experienced bonding, really helped sustainability and kindness when I didn't realize it. Since my childhood, I've always played board games, and my family has owned almost 100 different tabletop games. Here are just some sitting in my living room right now. I have played so many different types of board games, adventure, mystery, strategy, you name it, but not yet one based on sustainability. As most of you know, here at Green School, we are constantly taught about sustainability, and to be kind, how cool would it be if we could learn about sustainability by having fun and playing a game? Board games have the important aspect that they are social in nature because they require players to interact meaningfully with other players. Did you know that the first board game ever invented was Hounds and Jackals? This game first appeared around 2000 BC, and the first complete set of this game was discovered in an Egyptian tomb that dates to the 13th dynasty. With hours of thinking into my passion and deciding what was going to fit me for this project, I finally decided I was going to make a board game about sustainability. This was a great opportunity for me because I'm so passionate about board games and I have loved them since my childhood. This game will be beneficial because it will teach people about sustainability in other ways. There were many challenging steps to creating this board game, and the first step was the tiles. This was the biggest part of my quest, and the first thing I came up with was a single board for every player. When I was finally done with the design, it didn't look right. And after deciding that I was going to make a different one than the first one, I finally came up with hexagon tiles. I chose this because it's nice to place them wherever you want and have real control over your society. Now this satisfied me. It looked good and it's nice and spacious. Since I was happy with my result, I was ready to go on to the next step. Cards. Most board games have cards, as you know, so I wanted to put them in my board game. I decided that you can mainly get sustainability points throughout the cards. For example, Biofuel Bus Station allows you to get 1 sustainability point because your society now runs off of biofuel, when Forest Fire gives you -1 sustainability point because your society is getting polluted by smoke. After printing them, I didn't want them to get damaged, so I had to put them in sleeves. Then I went on to making the physical hexagon tiles. My idea for hexagons came from one of my favorite board games of all time, Settlers of Catan. Catan has been called the monopoly of our time due to its sudden and huge popularity around the world. Created by Klaus Teuber from Germany in 1995, the first 5,000 copies of Settlers of Catan sold out so quickly that Teuber doesn't even own one of the first copies to himself. My next step was to laser cut my pieces, and I used wood for this. Thanks to the iHub, I was able to cut them easier and more symmetrically. Once the hexagon tiles were ready, I was ready to paint and stick the designs I made previously onto them. Throughout the rest of the process, I came up with more components to the game, such as the weather die. The weather die determines the weather during your turn, sunny, rainy, or an average good day. I also came up with markers, blue if your society is going to get flooded, and red for a problem. Then I came up with the player's guide. The player's guide helps the players know how much it costs and what it costs to build something in your society. There are also the steps to your turn and tips for the game. When I was finally done with the board game and all of the pieces, I was relieved. But this did not look right. The game had to have somewhere to store it. I then decided I was going to use a box. The process for this took quite a lot of time, and after looking in Kambali, iHub, and my house, I finally found a suitable box from a previous game. Now that I found a nice box, I was ready to make the interior of the box. My idea for this was to make the box all separated into different segments, which were then separated into smaller segments to fit my pieces and components for the game. After 3 whole Jalons of making the interior of the box, I finally came up with the end of the box. That night, when I was painting my box in my driveway, to my sorrow, it had been run over by a car. This made me feel very low, and after a full day of stress, my mom managed to get my hopes up, and the next day I was capable of touching up my box and making it look as good as new. Thank you, Mom. Now that I was finally done with everything, my board game looked like this. So how the game works is that you first pick a card, which can give you something different, such as sustainability points, unsustainability points, etc. Then you roll the weather die, which determines the weather, sunny, rainy, or an average good day, and then collect from your society. You can then construct tiles such as a forest, agriculture, and housing tile, and place cards down on other people. The game ends when the first player achieves 20 sustainability points. In the end, the point and goal for my board game will be to teach people how to make a more sustainable living, and I also hope that people will learn throughout the game. Problem solving and passing through complex situations help develop the mind and sharpen memories. Board games help build the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, which are responsible for complex functions. Another thing that benefits my project is that almost 53% of your stress goes away while playing a board game. In the end, I really want people to benefit off of this game, and I want people to learn something new on making a more sustainable environment. I would like to thank all my teachers, Ibu Nicola, Ibu Kylie, Ibu Jackie, and Ibu Esther, Pag Driver, and Pag Baxter for helping me throughout my quest, and a big thanks to my family, mom, dad, and brother, for being supportive throughout my process. Yeah. Thank you.
That's the one you did it.
It seemed kind of